Let's talk to Angela Diffley about all of this. Angela, what do you make of the language from the Iranian foreign minister?
Well, there's been a little more since we last spoke. One interesting thing that the Iranian foreign minister said was that the United States must immediately stop. Its explicit reference to the possible use of force by the United States must end immediately, is what he said. Good luck with that. Whoever can control what Donald Trump chooses to say about anything and its impact on negotiations, that is not going to be heeded, I would imagine. And the reality is, of course, Donald Trump said this morning that he thought Iran was keen to negotiate because it didn't want to face the consequences if it didn't. And, it is a fact that the United States have their big, beautiful armada off the coast of Iran, and that is a credible threat, given that the last time in the middle of negotiations, the United States decided to join the Israelis and eliminate or certainly disable significantly the nuclear program. That said, it is all sounding quite positive from the Iranian side. As you said there, they talked about a window of opportunity. They hoped that it might lead to a deal, that there was no assumption that it would, but if it left it, there was a possibility that it might lead to a deal with lasting consequences for the region, for stability in the region. All of that is sounding very, very positive. Yesterday, the Iranian foreign minister met with the head of the International Atomic Energy Agency, Rafael Grossi. That in itself was seen as a positive sign. And he said, the Iranian foreign minister, Abbas Araqchi, said that both the United States and the Iranian delegation talked today about the role of the IAEA. So it is looking positive. Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner were leading the American delegation. So all that was ever expected was movement towards a possible framework. These people are not in a position to be talking about detailed nuclear programs and the significance or this or this or that compromise.
And we haven't heard any reaction yet from this meeting or any comments from the Americans yet. Angela, what do you think the next steps may be then from the Trump perspective?
Well, the Iranians are in difficulty because of how closely they got to being overthrown, the regime, Ayatollah Khamenei's regime, in January. And without the use of brutal force, that regime might not still be there. They are keen on an easing of sanctions to try to appease their people. That was one of the demands during the protests. A lot of young Iranians particularly saying, we want an end to these sanctions. So the Iranians are keen on that. And it comes down to, in a way, what price the United States might take for easing the sanctions. Will Donald Trump go for something very minimal? It is an election year, midterms this year. He won't want the United States to be embroiled in a forever war. He might go for something very minimal. They talked before about zero uranium enrichment. We don't really know what that looks like. Any compromise on that, we will see. The Israelis would like to be included in any deal the idea that the ballistic missiles program should end, that Iran's support for its proxy militias in the region, the Houthis, many of the others are now much less forceful than they were. The Israelis would certainly like that included in any deal. And of course, particularly the young, but all those Iranian protesters wanted a regime change. They want the government to be overthrown. And that is quite tricky. Will Trump go for that? It could destabilize the whole region. He listens very much to the Saudis. It's not quite clear what the Saudis want. The Turkish government does not seem very keen. The Israelis, now that they feel ready, could go for it. The Israelis are quite keen. They were a little bit reticent earlier on because they were worried about the Iranians retaliating. But now that the Americans have put in these air defense batteries in the area, the cost of a regional war to, for example, example, Israel, would be less. But, would Iran erupt into civil war? Any regime change always involves the most enormous risk. As many people have noted, this is not Venezuela. It is a multi-ethnic country. It is complicated. So we don't know where they're heading or what they will settle for. And, of course, Donald Trump always likes to be unpredictable.